Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us. So, I want to start with a bold question. And if anybody here is a founder, you can share the answer with us through, opening your mic or sharing it on the chat box. Was there like a moment, let's say a specific moment, not even a feeling, just a moment where you knew you were never, ever, ever going back to a job? That's it. We're gonna be entrepreneurs for life. Gina, I will give you the mic for this one.
To answer it?
Yeah. When did you know? Did you have that a
Um,
moment like that?
well, mine was very specific. So it was in a consultancy role where I know the infrastructure was changing internally. And I knew that my position would no longer exist. So it was my decision to actually resign and start building my company. So that's when I knew. But you do get that gut feeling when you know you don't belong there anymore. You've either outgrown the role, outgrown the space, and not necessarily the community, but you know when you've outgrown the role. And you, Nancy?
For me, it was, I don't know, I don't want to work for anybody. Because I was like, well, I'm giving my 150 to 150 for companies, for organizations that don't belong to me. And all of that time and energy should go to number one, which is Nancy. So for me, I think finding that thing that I can stay with forever. And I thought, or still think, that's gonna only be what I create, not what other people create. And this is, the whole episode today, Gina, because that moment that you get, like I remember for me, we also were still working with the ministry, and
Mhm.
we had a lot of news, different, things changing at the administration level that I didn't really like, or it didn't, um, cross with my values. So I was like, okay, I think I'm done. خلاص. I just want to do me. And that was not like an inspirational moment or a motivational, let's say, speaking that I heard or whatever. It was just a decision that I made internally. And the next day I just quit without even thinking or knowing what I'm gonna do next. And I said I'll just figure it out because we ain't going back. And that's what we were talking about today, is how we can move forward without going back. And I'm Nancy, and this is Gina. Are you there with us, Gina?
Yes, I am.
We're
Hi.
gonna talk about built on coffee and grit.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, episode one is about I'm not going back, I ain't going back, and I think I'll let Gina tell you about the inspiration behind the the episode, which was me. The ones for founders who are like you're past the experiment. We're not talking about someone who still don't have revenue. No, we're talking about you've got some revenues, you've got clients, but you also have that pressure of you're in the middle. You're always that having that thought, do I go back to employment where it's less pressure and more stability, or do I just go forward? But here we are, we're still here, we're not going back. And we're not talking about the people who are doing side hustles for 6 months and then deciding to quit their job. No, we're talking about something much, much more real, a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. So going on what Nancy said, we're talking about those individuals who, if they went back to employment, just as I mentioned at the beginning, they would feel like something's not sitting, something is has already closed off for them if they went back to employment. So that's what we're talking about today.
Hmm. I feel like it's something in your head that nags. Like, I'm meant for more. I can
Yeah.
create something.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah. So that's the
Mm.
distinction. It's not about rebelling, like,
You're not drinking
okay,
that,
I'm
first
bored
of
of
all.
my job.
Isn't that just a garnish?
Hi, Mobile.
I don't drink them. I would imagine it's just a garnish.
So it's not about like I'm bored from my job. I just don't like my supervisors, or I'm in a a job environment that I don't like. It's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about the feeling that employment is a door that is shut and now you know it and moving forward with it.
Yeah. And I want to say to that, Nancy, I don't think sometimes it comes as clearly to some individuals.
No.
So the announcement doesn't really, or the decision, I should say, doesn't announce itself to you. So even for us at Bella and Bella, we are now in year three as a startup and just entered year three a couple months ago. And we registered, as I mentioned, 3 years ago, but that wasn't the moment that we knew that this is the pathway we wanted to go. And it wasn't even our first client who we've been working with. So it's been a lot of quiet decisions behind the scenes, and some of those we'll talk about tonight.
And you know, Gina, if I'm gonna be true, it's not even the beginning for me. Sometimes the beginning is very clear. It's where we're at right now, that sometimes you forget why you're doing this. Or because you're in it so much that even you forget what was originally your business plan. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing this for? So for
Mhm.
me, that's why, like, maybe for the beginning was for me easy, but it's staying on track that was more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, with the pressure, not having that stabilities, days you have a lot of clients, days you may seek a lot of clients. And recently, with everything that has been happening around the world, you get affected more than, if I had my previous job, for example. So I think for me, it's the middle ground that is more confusing than the beginning.
Mhm. I agree. I agree.
Yeah. And does anyone else share this? Like, please do. Like, when did you know? Like, was it financially or was it emotional? What was it exactly that خلاص, this is it?
Yeah. Maybe before I answer, let's see if anyone in the background has anything to
Yes,
share.
please do join us in this conversation so we can have more fun.
But while we're waiting for people to either speak up, I know for me it was a lot around identity. I grew up in a household where academia was stressed from the beginning. So the next steps after you graduate, obviously going to master's and then going on and on. So those kinds of titles in terms of vice president, those were always titles that my parents thought we should attain. So I remember my identity was tied into who I was for so long here in the region. And I remember
Gina disappeared. Just give her a minute. Until Gina unfreezes. Does anyone would like share their story? Okay, I will share mine then. Mine was actually the opposite of Gina. For me, it was more financially and socially. Because, like, for me, I always tied financial success to my worth, let's say. And because of that, when we had few clients who were just dropped off, and we had to cut a lot of budget that month or 2 months, it surprised me that instead of feeling, oh my God, why I'm doing this, or what is happening, or panicking, or criticizing myself like I usually do, Like I even felt, oh my God, I'm proud. I'm getting mature. I was instead problem solving. We were looking into budgets, what we can cut off, how can we bring on into more clients. So for me, it was okay, let's go to problem solving. And I knew then that for real, this is what I've chosen for myself. And this is what I enjoy as well. Because I didn't feel like, I remember that day, I didn't feel panic. I just felt like, okay, this is becoming interesting. Maybe it will be a backstory one day if I get successful 20 years from now or 10 years from now. So yeah, Gina will come back. So
Thank you.
let's
My
get your
iPhone said
story
it was
again
heating up.
before you cut off.
Thank you. Apologies about that. But I
Yeah.
was talking about identity shifts and having my job and my position being tied to that identity. So, real quickly, apologies. This is problem solving. My iPhone started heating up for some reason. So, I have an ice pack behind it. That's the problem solving I've done. So I remember having my identity so tied to my job and what I did. And I think I was leading a lot with that title and that position. And of course, it has a lot to do with ego and pride. And anytime someone asked me, what did I do? It was consultant manager, etc. And I know something needed to start shifting. And I'll tell you the exact time I remember this is there were a couple of times actually. I was at a comedy show, and also once I was taking some acting classes just to help in terms of my presentation skills. And I remember the instructor coming up after me after the class and saying to me, "You're really, really good." But he was like, "Have some fun up there. You're so serious." And I've learned along the way to take myself less seriously, but then also just letting go of that identity of manager, senior consultant, etc. And once I started making that shift, that's when I realized that I was really focusing on who and what I was becoming. So that's the best way. I don't know what you
Don't
talked about,
always have the
Nancy, but
money
go
to
ahead.
buy nice clothes anymore or do all the facials. Sometimes you have to pick and choose. Do I buy a very nice dress or just a nice dress? So yeah, and this is what the, let's say, let's name it directly. It is pride. Sometimes that's what stops us from moving forward is choosing between like I'm gonna be prideful or I'm gonna have that resolve because at the end of the line, the pride needs an audience. It says like I need to prove someone wrong, especially us women sometimes a lot, and for me, like coming from an Arab culture, like I remember my family would say usually someone else would have done it if it's gonna work, or someone better would have succeeded, or
Mm,
whatever, because we have that saying. So having that mindset of I'll prove them wrong, it's gonna make us do it for the wrong reason. Instead of going to the resolve when I say I've chosen this life for myself. And when you
mm,
choose this, you have that ownership and the autonomy to move forward, even in every decision that you take, even if you fail, if you succeed, you know that this is not forever, it's just for this time. And now, what can I do next to keep moving forward? Whether it's a fail or a pass, you can't look at it like, oh, okay, I succeeded finally, and خلاص, sit down. No, you have to think of how I'm going to move forward with this. And the same goes with failure. So, yeah, as again, we'll say pride needs an audience, but resolve doesn't require one. And that's, I think, a lot to do with what you said, Gina, the identity shift, and for me, my self-worth. So there is a lot of inner work you have to
mm,
do when you start doing your own
for
things.
sure.
Because you
Yeah.
finally, I call it like you get naked,
Mhm.
but worse than physical naked. It's like spiritual, emotional nakedness that shows you everything. And it's
Mm.
interesting, it's fun. So don't take it seriously, not yourself or life. Just
Mm-mm.
that.
Well, Nancy, I want to add to that, but because I don't necessarily think it's fun. You learn a lot. It's a lot of learnings, but it's
It
really
is
stripping away.
fun. We have to
Yeah.
think about it. It's like a game, you level up.
um, but I think for me, it's uncomfortable. There's a
Yeah.
lot of being getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the best way I could understand it and articulate it. So going back to your point about resolve is a lot more quieter than the pride. And like you said, no one's watching. It's you with yourself. That's the best way. So being stripped naked, I like that analogy that you used. Okay.
Because that's how it feels. Everything
Yep.
comes out. That's why it's uncomfortable. And that's why it's like, I don't know if you watched that K-drama that was called It's Okay to Be Not Okay. I like it for the name, that's it. And the handsome fella putting it.
On there. Okay. Okay.
And
So
there's
then,
another layer. After the pride comes the beautiful grief.
mhm. So I want to ask. So I'll ask you actually first, Nancy. What did you have to grieve when you decided not to go back? Was there anything?
Hmm. Well, I know I did miss being managed
Okay.
or reporting to someone, that's for sure. But
Okay.
for me, I think it feels sometimes lonely
Yeah.
because other people sometimes don't understand why you're doing this, especially sometimes the people who are closest to you.
Mhm.
It's not like, thankfully, Gina and I work together, so we have that. But the loneliness I'm talking about is the loneliness around your friends, around your family members, because
Mhm.
in their heads, like, I don't understand what you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. Or again, we're in Arab culture. Why don't you just get married and move on? Like all of that. So there's that grief of feeling lonely in the road in terms
Mhm.
of you're not gonna get the support from the people that are closest to you sometimes. And that's and you know, you grieve it. Then after that, I had to learn to be okay with it.
Mhm.
Like it's okay. Like everybody has their life choices. And I think that's why for me coaching was very, very, very beneficial
Yeah.
because it's understanding that different people see life differently and want different things from life. And sometimes they don't understand us, but not being validated, not having, you know, um, I don't know, like, what do you call it? Like, I don't want to say like people saying, oh, clapping. No, it's just like when you have
Mhm.
that day that you are very down, that you don't get the response, well, why don't you go back to your job or whatever?
Mhm.
You would get a response, okay, that's fine. That's just a setback. You can do better next time. Or just
Yeah.
listening instead of going with, going back
Mhm.
to your job.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I don't know if it's necessarily identity for sure, validation less so. But I think for me, the income, the predictable income. I mean, I remember my colleague saying he was looking forward to every 25th of the month, every 27th of the month. He was like, cha-ching, I know that money's coming in. So for me, it's the predictable income. Um, and the safety. I think giving that up voluntarily can be scary and challenging at times. So for
Yeah.
me, that's the main thing.
But that's now interesting. Like for me, I
Hmm.
didn't care about that. I don't know why.
Hmm. Okay.
Like the stability of the income. Like what I like the stability of what you're doing today more, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm okay with bursts of money because as I explained.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I like the promotions to be honest, because
Hmm.
you feel like you're going somewhere. But sometimes when you are doing your own thing, that's it. There is nothing else. And sometimes you have to learn a lot of skills, which is awesome. But sometimes, like, there's a lot of skills now in my head. What I'm gonna do with all of them?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that because if you're, especially here in the region, and in the States as well, in North America, you work a certain amount of years, you earn additional skills, and then you move up the ladder. And some people enjoy that being inside corporate America. But with entrepreneurship, there are no at least at Bella and Bella. They're not necessarily promotions. However, we like to say we have a flatarchy. But everyone comes in, everyone pitches in. There's a lot that we're doing behind the scenes, assisting one another. So I don't miss that as much in terms of being promoted because that was never part of my identity, although I really liked being called senior consultant manager, but I don't believe that as time has gone by, I've evolved into focusing more on who I was becoming, so less about the title and who I was becoming. So for me, promotion was not a big deal.
Mm. But the money with the
Okay.
promotion was nice.
Of course, of course.
And we're naming this because some people stop at the grief stage.
Mhm.
But grief is not, it doesn't mean that we made the wrong decision or you made the wrong decision. It's just a sign that you're moving from your old self to the new self or from your old reality to your new reality. And it's something that every one of us needs to go through it. The only way through it is actually just through it. You just have to feel the
Yeah.
feels, grieve the grief, name them all, and say thank you. They serve their purpose for that time, and now it is the sign that what we're doing and what is left is real, and that is we're still here anyway, and that's the resolve.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
we ain't going back. And that leads us to the last segment, which is the financial reality. Now,
Favorite part, money. But before I say something, Nancy, just to talk about grief, one of the ways I've heard it recently that I really like it is that everything that's happening is not happening to you, it's happening for you. So for your growth. I just love that expression. It's by one of my favorite rappers, Jay-Z. So I had to put that there. Out there.
but it's true. Like it's not just grief, everything. Like if you,
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
happening to you, not being punished or whatever.
yeah, exactly.
So let's talk about money now. The
Favorite topic.
actual one.
Mhm.
What do you have to say, Jean, about money?
Well, I think this is the part that really separates what we're attempting to do here in the live series versus motivational content. It's really get behind the scenes. You could hear a lot of motivation around believing yourself, go for it, follow your passion. That's the biggest one. Everyone says, follow your passion. It'll all work out.
But
But
nobody says how much it costs.
yes, exactly.
Costs a lot
At
of
all.
nice things.
Yeah. So this is where we're going to focus on where the money is going, what we're spending, what we had spent in terms of Bella and Bella, some of the costs that we've cut, and really trying to focus on building a sustainable business. So, Nancy, what did you have to cut first?
For me, nice clothes, to be honest. That's what I've been talking about the most. I do love spending money on dresses. And nice dresses are expensive. Even the one like, casual and day to day, especially the brand that I like. Um, yeah, so I think that was like what I would do now instead of like every month going to shop is just now I strategically buy stuff. Okay, like I treat buying clothes like I treat buying or purchasing something for our clients. So it's like strategically. So do I need a suit? What color that works best on my skin in the summer, in the winter? My hair, of course, I didn't cut costs on it. I just do it now every 3 months, a color that I will stay for 3 months without being dyed because I have a lot of white hair that helps as well. So, so I would do that. Like, I need this suit for this color. It works like in the summer, and the like. If I change a few things, it will work in the winter as well. Like few dresses that can work on both, as usual. Like if you dress something, a cardigan top of it. So now I strategically buy stuff. I planned for 6 months of what I'm gonna buy, so that helps a lot, which
Mhm.
I've never been
Okay.
used to it. Like I'm one of these people who used just to go and buy stuff, sometimes never wear them just because I just liked it on the rack. So now that's not it.
Yeah.
It's no longer a luxury. It's more like strategically buying clothes to look
Mhm.
nice in front of people when needed and to go out with my friends when needed. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, for
So,
me, the one of the biggest expenses I had was a rental car. So I was paying close to 2,000 AED a month on a rental car, and this was a cost I cut fairly early on. And I was becoming more intentional about the conferences, the networking events I attended, just making sure it was well aligned to what Bella and Bella was building. And to a point, even in terms of the car, that I was sharing also with another entrepreneur, and that has worked out. So we're supporting each other along the way and cutting out on that expense. And it's not to say that in cutting down on these expenses helped generate revenue. It wasn't that, but it was trying to reduce the burn as much as we could. So those are the
right.
kinds of things we did. And also our subscriptions to different AI subscriptions, just minimizing the number of subscriptions that we had.
Yeah. Because what happens is sometimes you would have to pay from your own pockets.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because some months there's going to be few days or food for some months there are going to be you have zero clients and other months you're going to have a lot of clients. And that's why you, at the beginning you always have to be conscious on your personal spending and your business spending. Because now a lot of people, like some of our clients, sometimes when I work with my clients, what they go ahead or think, maybe I don't know from where they got these ideas, maybe from the social media, that to generate leads and stuff they need to do a lot of expensive ads. And the thing is, Meta, if you give it 3,000, 4,000, it doesn't mean it's going to generate leads for
Yeah.
you. So sometimes you need to be even, that's why you need to learn sometimes skills. Even if someone comes like tell you use this or you listen to whatever podcast, always search more about it because sometimes less does actually more. And you do mistakes along the way, and these mistakes cost money. Everything costs money. So sometimes, yeah, I remember once, I think I spent on an ad more than what I gained from the purchase that happened through that ad. So yeah, so learning all of this, sometimes,
Mhm.
errors gonna happen. Sometimes, you will get extra money for the car that got, you know, on an accident, or you need a new whatever, or even new tooth. You never know. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, I
all
think,
of it is a
yeah,
learning curve.
for sure. For sure.
And
Mhm.
the thing is, do not attach yourself financially a lot. That's what I think. The
Yeah.
money will come. It's like if you think about it as a circle, like money goes and it comes back to you. That way you will not block yourself from receiving money as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree, but I think a lot of the spending that we were doing was a lot around ego spending, the things that you think you need as a business. I remember like paying
Yeah,
for
that
annual
happens a lot.
subscriptions. Yeah,
Yeah.
paying for annual subscriptions as opposed to just doing the trial period. And I would recommend that every founder does that. Just do the trial periods, test it out for a month or two, and then make the decision later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or you forget even to remove the card. That's that I did that mistake a lot, for example.
for sure, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
or sometimes what you do, and like I think I'm one of those who, for Thrive Through Coaching, that's what I did. I think like one of the first mistakes that I did with it is that I needed everything to be perfect from the beginning, like the website, the logo, the blah blah blah.
Mhm.
So that does it, you don't need everything to be ready to start a business.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
Instagram account is enough, which is for free.
Mhm.
And you don't have
Mhm.
to add that uh, verification.
Mhm.
Sometimes, some people will advise you, oh, go do verification. Let me tell you, I didn't see a difference.
Mhm. Mhm.
But sometimes, you will ego spend, as Gina said,
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
even LinkedIn Premium, stuff like that. You don't know. But,
yeah,
you learn and you grow.
for sure, for
But
sure.
now I think what we've learned, instead of looking at like every now and then or quarterly, now we try to do it weekly to check what we have
Yeah.
subscriptions. Are they needed? Are not needed? Are we doing this just for our egos? Are we doing this just to look good? to look fancy? Is it really useful? Is it really beneficial?
Mm.
So all of this, asking these questions is the best tool to work things financially. Like, is it coming from my ego? Is it coming from my pride? Is it coming for because I actually need it? Or
Yeah.
it just makes me look, especially we Arabs, we like to look good. I have to say that. So yeah, sometimes less is more, and if there is and if you wait every year, there is those sales that happens at the end of the year. Those are good. I like them. Yeah, even like subscription. Sometimes you get like I remember I waited for one of the funnels and I got it for 300 for 7 months instead of each month 100 or 150. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I
Okay.
saved a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Three rules that changed everything is, I think, do not make decisions from panic, not from ego, and not from collaboration fear, because sometimes you feel that like if I don't do this, I'm gonna lose it,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just fear talking. You're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
another opportunity.
Yeah.
What do you think about, sometimes because you get to a lot of those opportunities online where they tell you, pay me this and I will give you featured in whatever magazine.
Yeah. A lot of those. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think like part of it is just not,
Mm-hmm.
be conscious about them and know your value. Like if you're gonna spend 2 hours from your day, get paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Nancy, I want to re-emphasize those because I think those are important. And for sure, we get
Emphasize them.
inundated. Yeah, well, we get inundated with our inbox. And I'll share one openly because Nancy, I haven't shared this with you. Even a couple days ago, someone asked me, did I want an honorary doctorate?
Me
And it was
too.
coming, yeah, yeah. It was coming from a university in Mexico I'd never heard of. So this goes back to what Nancy was saying in terms of those three rules that we've kind of adopted as Bella and Bella. So not making a decision out of panic, that's one. And then no investment that's made from ego. Because yes, I would love an honorary doctorate. I only have a master's, but I would love an honorary doctorate, but that's not a great investment. And collaboration. So not doing a collaboration be out of fear. So I would say those are three kind of steadfast rules we've been holding to, especially this year as we build in year three.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for me, I think
Okay.
like
Mhm.
collaboration from fear sometimes, because sometimes you'll tell yourself, oh, I'll get exposure and blah, blah, blah. But
Mhm.
you need to look, is this kind of the exposure you want?
What do
You're
we want?
depending how many hours to just get 30 minutes out there. Is it gonna, come back to you? Most of the time, no.
I always say, is it going to move the business forward? So this is
Yeah.
where we're going to talk about the founder tool and then give some time for questions because we're over time. So every episode we're going to leave with a tool, and Nancy's going to talk about this, and we call this one the decision filter. So it's something that you could use that's practical, that doesn't take a lot of time. It's involved for us. It's a lot about reflection because we do a lot of weekly reflection on our business and what's moving it forward. So, Nancy, I'm going to let you talk about the decision
Yeah,
filter
this
that
one
we
is
use.
easy peasy. It follows what the rules that we made. The
Yeah.
decision filter is
Okay.
that always, always, never, never say yes directly. Okay, hold that
Yeah.
yes. Either
Mhm.
say I will think about it if it's for from coming from someone, or if you're doing it on your phone, just put it aside and leave it for 24 hours. Why? Because within that time period of the pause, we're gonna think or ask ourselves three questions. Is this generating any revenue for our business or our personal business or whatever? Does this protect my energy? And the third and the last important one that Gina already talked about, does this move the business forward? If it doesn't, no need for it.
Mhm.
Because sometimes
Mhm.
if that's where you lose your
Yeah.
alignment, like where you're headed, you just always have to be clear where you're going. Otherwise, you'll be too scattered.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those the most important 3 questions to ask for you before every decision that you make, and that's what we call the decision filter.
Yep. And generally, if 2 out of those 3 are not met, I would decline it right away. So does it generate revenue? Does it protect my energy and my team's energy? I also like to add, does it protect also the team's bandwidth? Because that's also important. And does this move the business forward?
Yeah. And this is, I think, where some of those non-negotiables that we came up with, Gina, right? Come from.
Okay. Yeah.
What is
So,
our non-negotiable?
well, I'll speak about some of those. It goes back to not working without understanding how it's building or moving our business forward. That's one. I don't do a lot of free exposure. Nancy knows that our discovery calls in general, with a new client, new customer, usually now went from 30 minutes to 10 minutes. And we have a really, really strong client vetting process that we use. So those are some of the things that we put in place as of year 3.
Yeah.
Nancy, anything for you?
And I think, another one I think is saying no, Gina. What do you think? Like saying no without explanation. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like we spent years, especially as women, justifying every boundary that we have. Now we don't need to do that. No is a complete sentence and it's a beautiful one. Unless you like that person and they're close, just give them a little justification to give them, a nice feeling. But otherwise, I'm not interested. Thank you. Next.
Yeah. I agree. No without an explanation. I would say that's
and then next. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to justify your rationale. And actually I heard this recently on, I don't know if it was a webinar podcast, and they were asking someone, what do they want? And the person said, I want XYZ. And the person said, why? And he just said, I want this. There's no reason you need to explain it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And now because I do that, I hate explaining things. Now I go into the other spectrum of the whole thing. Like if someone asks me, explain this to me, it's like, can I just send you the document? You read it. خلاص, let's move on.
Yeah. 100%, 100%. Oh, so Nancy, I want you to check before we talk about next episode. Can you see if anyone had questions? Who
In
has
the
come
chat
in?
box, I didn't see anything, but we'll just
maybe
open
we
it
open the
up.
mic, for a few minutes, and then we'll talk about the next episode in 2 weeks. And we're really trying to make this a very conversation. So this is us being real. We hope you enjoyed it tonight. And it's for individuals, as we said, founders who are really building, I would say year 2 to 5. So you're just beyond that startup phase, but you're just building into the growth stage, where you may have a lot of pressure. You're trying to figure out what to adjust in your business model. There obviously is a lot of uncertainty right now happening across the region and across the globe, I should say. And a lot of things for us, even Bella and Bella, hasn't gone according to plan. But I always say when you're in that uncomfortable moment, this is when the growth really begins.
And that's what we're going to talk about
both personally
next time.
and professionally.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to
Nancy?
talk about next time. How to grow when you can't afford to grow. Scaling without a cash cushion.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, any questions?
I don't see anything. So and we're always over our 20 minutes. So thank you everyone for joining us, sending you lots of love and money, energy.
Yes.
And success.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you.
Right.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Nancy, you want to hit stop the recording, please? And we can.